Hi, and welcome to Danny After Dark. If you're new here, make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss a notification or a new episode. Tonight is a bit of a chill show. I figured I would give y'all a recap of my vacation that I recently went on. As you can see from the title, you know where I went. I went to Sedona, Arizona, the Grand Canyon, which those two I'd never been to. And then I also went to Las Vegas at the end of the trip. Vegas I have been to several times. However, this time when I went to Vegas, I was able to go to the Mob Museum. And that was so cool. Like, highlight of my trip. I have a lot of pictures. I do have one video, and I figured I would just kind of, hang out with you guys and tell y'all about my trip. I will kind of go in order of the trip. So the Mob Museum will be more towards the tail end. So if you specifically tuned in, like just to hear about that and see pictures of that, it'll be later on in the episode. But while you're here, stay. Or if you're on replay crew, hang out, have a good time, and we'll just hang out. So I do see several of you in the chat already. So Capone is in the chat, and yes, I got to meet up with Capone while I was in Vegas, which was so cool. So cool. Capone, you are amazing. Super cool. Absolute rock star. Thank goodness you had been to the Mob Museum so you could kind of give me an idea of what it was like. And not that I didn't believe you in regards to like, oh, it's 4 floors, so there's a lot. So I'm like, okay, yeah, it's 4 floors. Hun, we could have spent 3 hours on each floor. Like, we were there maybe like 2 hours, 15 minutes, I think, 2.5 hours, somewhere around that. And that was like going through it at a pretty decent pace. Like, yeah, oh my gosh, you could literally spend the day there. I honestly messaged the Liz and was like, girl, like you would spend the entire day there and it'd be closing time and you'd be like, I'm not done yet. There's just so much. I'll get into that later because I do have tons of pictures. But yes, Capone, I was able to meet up with Capone, which was really cool. So I am wearing one of the shirts that I got on my trip. I got this, shocking, from the Mob Museum. Capone, Luciano, Bugsy, and Gotti. And then closer to the bottom, it says the Mob Museum, Las Vegas. I got a lot of stuff because, I like to shop. I like to shop. But I'll kind of talk about that as the trip goes on. The jewelry I'm wearing tonight, it's super small on camera, so you really can't see. It's a kind of like colorful skull. Yeah, it's not really picking up on camera. It's like a colorful skull, earrings, and necklace set that I got in Sedona. So I'll just kind of start there. So the trip started out in Sedona, and I'll get to y'all in the chat in a minute. As everybody kind of trickles in, give you guys a little bit. So the trip started out in Sedona. I had never been. Amazing. I think I was there 3 nights. 3 nights. Yes, 3 nights. And I would have loved to have stayed longer. It was just such a cool, relaxing place where I was staying, there was a lot of stuff within walking distance. So you didn't need to like really get a Lyft or an Uber or anything like that. I had a rental car, but didn't need to use it like at all at that point there. And it was just really cool. Everywhere in Sedona, it was like rocks, crystals, like every store had crystals. And like, I know it's one of those like, okay, touristy thing. And I get that and I respect that. It's not my vibe. And let's be honest, if I was going to go get crystals, I would hit up Auntie Mimi and be like, Mimi, hook me up, please. Which if y'all don't know Auntie Mimi, then you're like, why would you hit up your aunt? Makes sense. But yeah, so it wasn't my type of thing. And like, I'm more of a, like, I know like a lot of girls probably like want jewelry from places. That's not my vibe. It's really not. I'm just very minimalist, but I love t-shirts. I love t-shirts. Anybody that's ever traveled with me, anytime I go somewhere, I'm like, I have to get like a t-shirt or two or three. I love big baggy t-shirts and I own an obscene amount and I wear them. It is what it is. Like you can ask Beckham and Paul when we went to LA or when I went to visit Paul in Biddleford in Canada. I'm like, we got to go to gift shop. I need my tees. So yeah, I obviously got, how many did I get from Sedona? I think I got like 5 or 6. But to be fair, 2 of them were cat tank tops. There was like this little cute store that had like funky stuff. And I saw cats from a distance. I'm like, beeline. So I bought like 2 tank tops. It was like, had some cats on it and then it said Sedona, Arizona. Of course I was going to get those. But yeah, so in regards to jewelry, like it's not my thing. But then when I saw like these like very colorful skulls, I was like, oh, that's Danny. That is so Danny. So picked that up. Now that I've chatted a bit, people have trickled in. Yeah, let's kind of see who's here. We're just going to hang out. Again, I have pictures and stuff. Tony Stewart, hello. I knew you'd be the first in the chat. Kane, I got a drink for you. Yeah, this was Mom. Yeah, at the Mom Museum. It was like the top one I saw. I'm like, gotta have it. Which t-shirts from the Mom Museum are not cheap. They're not cheap. But then again, like it's touristy. So to be fair, like every place I went was like, touristy, you're paying like 30, 35. Like I think these were like $40 a shirt, which is like, it is what it is. I knew when I went to the Mom Museum, I'm like, I'm picking up, I actually got another shirt there. I'll wear that on like a later show. Yeah, but that was definitely the most expensive place for tees. I'm like, really $40 for a t-shirt, but it is what it is. I was going to buy it. So, but I love this shirt. Capone, of course. Don't like the name Capone though. Those might be fighting words here. Lil Milky, hello. Okay. Yeah, I figured you would have a better time frame, but it was 2 hours. I knew it was 2 hours. Hey, Zach, good to see you. I'm jealous, Danny. Danny gets all the good shirts. And Danny's bank account reflects that I got the shirts. Like, it does. But it's okay. I wore one of it was one of the ones I got in Sedona. I wore to the gym tonight when I got out of work. I went to the gym and I wore that. But it was like a colorful, like turquoise, bluish, greenish color, very bright in Sedona, Arizona. And I'm, why not? Karen, hello. Lovely to see you. Hope you had a wonderful vacation. Love your shirt. Thank you. I did. I was glad to be back. Cause yeah, I missed my cats, like crazy missed my cats. They were in good hands. The Liz, of course, is my girl. Cat mom herself, another friend came by as well. So I got my pictures. They were well cared for, but like I missed them. Who decides what crystals do? Very good question, Lil Milky. Very good question. I don't know. If I really wanted to purchase something, I would have called Auntie Mimi and been like, Mimi, what do I get? But like, again, it wasn't wasn't my type of thing, not the type of souvenir that I would like, go for. But it's like when I tell you it's Sedona, like the area I was, like every store, it's like ice cream shop / crystals. It's like, what? But it's okay. That's clearly a big thing in their area. Just not for me. Tony Stewart, love it. Do you? That is cool. That is really cool. Especially depending on how long you've been collecting them, the Milky. If you have like more vintage ones, you know what I mean? Like that stuff gets really cool. I like that. I really like that. We're gonna skip over that. Is it? I did not know. Tony Stewart, seriously? I did not know that. Well, thank you for educating me. Wow. Oh my God. I can imagine. Yep. Yeah. Oh, that's a whole conversation in itself. I've never heard of that site. I will make note of that, Tony. Thank you. Oh, Little Milky. Yeah, okay. Paulcast always complains about the cost of shipping. And like when we first became friends, I'm like, quit your bitching. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, no, shipping to Canada is a lot of money. A lot of money. Yeah, trust me, I know, because as y'all know, Beckham and Paulcast have been my co-hosts over on Manson Saga for years. And I really like to try to be, this is related, I promise. I really try to be a thoughtful friend, and like I love gift giving. So at Christmas, like I send them each like a little Christmas care package. Nothing crazy, but just stuff for each of the guys. And I try to put a lot of thought into it. And like I try to get a card specific to them and like write a really nice like handwritten thing, like, during the past year. Enjoyed your friendship. And then as I say that now, I'm like, why? They're so mean to me. But anyway, shipping to Beckham in the US, not a problem. Shipping to Paul in Canada, yeah, just take 5 of my paychecks, why don't you? Yeah, it's pricey. So bad. You guys are so bad. Oh, I love it. Hey, Auntie Mimi, I was just talking about you. I was saying that in Sedona, there's like crystals everywhere. Like every shop was like crystals. And it's not my thing. So I got like a skull necklace and earrings instead. And somebody in the chat had asked about like, how do you know what crystals do what? And I was like, I don't know. If I really wanted to know, I would have called Auntie Mimi, but yeah. That's amazing. How many did you get? Crystals? None. Not my thing. T-shirts, however, like a total of, I got like 6 in one. Grand Canyon, I got like 3 or 4. Vegas, I got like 5 or 6. Yeah, I got a lot. A lot of t-shirts. Okay. So in Sedona, I only have, so in regards to like the pictures to share, obviously I don't like to like dox anybody. So the ones I'm choosing just have me in them, or when we get to like the Mod Museum, I have a couple pictures that I got with Capone. And I did check with Capone first. I'm like, can I post or show this? And he said it was okay, because I don't like to dox people. So yeah, just a few pictures from Sedona to show. And some of them I did post. If you guys follow me on Danny After Dark Instagram account, I posted some along the way. The Facebook page for my show, I just recently did. I was a bit behind on that. Danny, did you see a Whitey Bulger shirt? Oh God, there were so many shirts. I can't remember. I don't think there was just a Whitey Bulger shirt because I would have gotten it for Liz because she's really into that case. I don't think there was one that was just Whitey Bulger. Capone, if I'm wrong, please correct. But Capone, was there one that was just Whitey Bulger? I don't recall seeing one that was just him. Yeah, see, yeah. And that's probably the other shirt that I got I was between several shirts. But I don't remember seeing one that was just Whitey Bulger. But thank you, Capone, for that clarification. Yeah, Capone totally saw me in a frenzy in the gift shop. I was just like, oh my God, I have to have this. I have to have this. I have to like, and then like, oh wait, I want that shirt, but I have too many. Let me put one, like, totally saw me in full, like, full shopping mode. I'm sure it was quite a sight, Capone. Okay, so the two pictures that I have to show from Sedona, and I hope I have this up right. Okay, so this first one, which, by the way, the t-shirt, I got so many compliments on that shirt, which, like, I actually have that in both black and white, and I brought both of them on the trip. I wore one in Vegas and one in Sedona. I got more compliments on that one, the one with the black with the white lettering. Tattoos are trashy. It's like, oh, love it. Love it. Love it. Because y'all know, girl, I got a lot. And I have 5 now, and that's like on the list of like, gotta get, but gotta save because y'all know tattoos are pricey. No, I don't dry anything outside, but that where I am, you don't do that. Hey PJ, welcome. Hey Sam Smith. My parents went to Sedona without me. That sucks because it's like a very like family oriented place. Like I could see if you're like, oh, they went to Vegas and left me home. Like that I would understand. But Sedona, if you haven't been, you gotta go. You gotta go. I would love to go back. Thank you. So the point being of this shirt. So in this picture, so there was a mead place near where I was staying, and I have never had mead before. And you got to do like taste tests of their mead. They had like 2 different flight lists of samples you could do. And then they also had like 2 different like slushy machines of different meads. So if you wanted to like, you could like get them to go, which I was like, okay. Yeah, I didn't realize I liked mead. It was very good. Did I like the one I was holding in the picture? No. And the picture isn't doing it justice. If you look it up on my Instagram, it's a much clearer picture. I saw that bottle and it was peanut butter jelly crime. I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. So Sam Smith, watch yourself. I mean, I do. You're not wrong, but watch yourself. Yeah, so I thought that was very cool. So that picture was in that store. That was just before I did their sampling of a bunch of different meats, and very, very good. I'm just, how I've gone through life and never have had meat before. No idea, but very, very good. The other picture I have is this. So this was, again, it's coming up a little blurry here, and I don't quite know why it's saved like that. But this is within walking distance of where I was staying. And yeah, the Sedona Mountains are just like right in the back. And the rocks are like an orangey red. Like the dust is like orangey red. It's just very, very interesting. Like waking up, looking out of the hotel room, it's just like, that's your view. And I actually did the short that I did while I was in Sedona, that was like updating on Lori Vallow and the Karen Reed trial beginning. That was shot from the balcony of my room that I was staying at. So that background that I had, like, that's what I got to look out and see each day, which was really, really cool. So yeah, those are the only two Sedona pictures to show. I could stare at the pic all day and night. Tony Stewart, be nice, be nice. Be good, behave. Beckham can fill out a t-shirt. James, that's so mean. That's so mean. Speaking of Beckham filling out a shirt, go and get your own Beckham shirt, or better yet, get a Danny After Dark shirt. Yeah, link, all my stuff is linked in below in the drop down bar. Links to all the social media. So here I'm referencing, go to the Instagram page. If you're like, wait a minute, what Instagram page? Links down there. The Cameo site, the Danny After Dark store where you can get Danny After Dark stuff, Beckham shirt. He'd appreciate it, would I? But nonetheless, yeah, all that stuff, TikTok, all the information down below. I know. And yeah, Sam Smith. So that is Sedona. And yeah, I was there for like 3 nights. The next thing was driving to the Grand Canyon. Not fun. So the pictures I have are going to be like, they're intertwined of like, I posted some already again on the Instagram page somewhere. Did I bring a Danny After Dark shirt with me? Absolutely. Did I do a little photo shoot? Absolutely. And then some are just like more candid, like as I was there. And I'll bring those up. But before I do that, so Kane, the coffee drink. And of course I had to get one just before I left Sedona. There was a place, and if any of you guys go, it's called the Black Cow Cafe, I want to say. And I'd seen it like when I was looking up like places while I'm there, like, lunch spots, coffee spots. That was like one of the top ones that I saw. So I was like, all right, might as well go check it out. On their menu, and I couldn't even tell you how it's pronounced because I tried it. I think I had to drink like that coffee like each day I was there. Pronounced it different every day. They corrected me, still couldn't get it right. Couldn't even tell you. Long story short, it's espresso with, so it's like a cold brew espresso with sweet cream. They can add like a flavor if you want, but a scoop of vanilla in it. So good. So good. When I did so much walking on vacation that I was just like, that's my treat to myself. Most people when they're on vacation would be like, in regards to like, going out and like getting desserts or this or that. Not really my vibe. The coffee drinks that I've been so good with like stopping doing because Starbucks, you make a dent in my account. Yeah, but oh my God, that was so good. So good. I think I got a picture somewhere. I'll have to double check. I'll double check if it's somewhere on my phone, and if I'll show it at a later time. But I did think of you. I was like, oh my gosh, Kane will love this. And it was so good. Let's see. Tony L. Hi, welcome. Richard coming in late, smelling great-ish. But thank you for sharing that information with everyone. And you're fashionably late, if anything. Yes, Kane. Yes. So good. So good. I said to the person, I was just like, it's like 10:30 in the morning. Like, and they were like, this is one of the top drinks here. And I was like, then I gotta do it. It is what it is. I think it was a terrorism thing. What? Hey, the better Tony. James Watson, you're horrible. I forgot about the Mob Museum being in Vegas till this show. Yes, Tony Stewart, absolutely. Absolutely. And give yourself at least 2.5 hours. At least. At least. And like, I can't even emphasize that. So, okay. In regards to the Grand Canyon, yes. So the ride, oh my gosh. I messaged Paul and Beckham because it reminded me of when the three of us were in LA and we did the drive to Gary Hidman's in Laurel Canyon. It was similar to that drive, is the best way I can describe it. A lot of twists, a lot of turns, the elevation. And I got so sick. I got so sick. But in my group, I was not the only one that got sick. It was miserable. And I'm like, I just want it to end. It was horrible. Took some meds for the nausea. Helped a little bit, but like, oh, that was brutal. That was like, yeah. I messaged them and I was like, you guys. Yeah. And they were very comforting in that moment. And then of course I went back to like them making fun of me as always. But like, I was like, you guys, this is bad. I'm so sick. But and then on the way, stopped at a place called Arizona. It's like there's some when I say outside, it's like a controlled environment outside, zoo, and then you can kind of walk where you can drive through and then you can park and then go in. I didn't realize there was like a go in part. I'm not the biggest fan of zoos just because of animals being, basically in captivity, so to speak. And I know there are different levels of like sanctuaries where sometimes animals they cannot for whatever reason be in the wild because it's not safe for them. And I get that. This was not, I was not aware we were stopping there. Somebody in the group was like, hey, let's go. So I didn't have time, it's just like, oh, okay, yeah, go with the flow. Doing the drive-through, I'm like, okay, cool. And then like kind of going in and walking. I'm like, oh, I hate seeing that. Like hate seeing that. But when you're with a group of people, it is what it is. So yeah, Tony, totally. Okay. Thought she was going to say, remind her of Beckham falling. No, there was no falling moment. But yeah, it was like that level of sickness that the three of us, and like being nauseous that the three of us felt. It was, I can't even, yeah. Okay, my Wi-Fi is a little like shoddy at the moment. I have an eye on it, so my apologies if it's a little shaky. Let me think, any other things on that before I show pictures. So I was in the Grand Canyon for 4 nights. And no, it wasn't you. That was me. For 4 nights. I could have done less. Like, for example, I would have loved to have taken one of those days and spent like another night in Sedona or spent another night in Vegas, probably more so Vegas. But again, overall, absolutely amazing. The Grand Canyon, I had never been to. Like in regards to like heights, it's not the most terrifying thing to me. But like, yeah, looking over some of this stuff, I'm like, yeah, a little bit. There's some pictures that I'll show that will kind of, again, hopefully they kind of come across clear on camera. There was, so I did a Jeep tour one night, and your girl being your girl sat right near the Jeep driver and was like, hey, what are your statistics on deaths in the Grand Canyon? And yeah, was anybody in my group shocked that I asked? No. And boy, did he have info. Yeah, he was just talking about like a lot of the accidental deaths that occur in the Grand Canyon and how they occur for the most part. He talked about suicides at the Grand Canyon. There was one relatively recently. I'm not going to share that information. I'm just not going to talk about that on camera, but he did say, here's one that recently happened. And here's what happened in that case. He talked about in regards to, and yeah, it's one of those when there's a lot of, for example, a husband and wife go together and one falls over accidentally. Kind of stuff like that, where then it turns out, oh no, that was not accidental. The spouse, whether it was the husband push or the wife push, which is like, I mean, y'all are into true crime, for the most part. So it's like, well, obviously, yeah. No accident. Exactly. One of the things that the tour guide said that really stuck with me that I was like, oh my God, is it's about a mile down. So if you accidentally fall, it's a mile down. And I don't know how he got this next kind of statistic, if you will, but in regards to the time it takes somebody to fall, it's several minutes. It can be like up to 7 minutes depending on speed. Again, that's what the tour guide said. Don't, if that's wrong, I'm just passing on that info. But at the if it's not 7 exactly, it takes several minutes to fall because you're going a mile. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So if somebody, again, whether it's accidentally, purposefully choosing to jump or drive off, or because that happens a lot, or if your spouse wants to get rid of you, and yeah, it's like, yeah, you're several minutes of realizing you're going like down the canyon, which I was like, oh my gosh, that's just wild. I didn't expect as many details as he had, but I'm like, that's a damn good tour guide. Cares to the public, even people like me. And what else? There was, yeah, it was, there's still people that live down in the canyon that just kind of live down there, and they surface to the kind of rest of society once in a great while. But for the most part, they make their own food. They do their own stuff. It was just fascinating that people live down there still and live off the land. I didn't do any kind of hikes going down into the canyon. I think everybody in the group I was with, besides one other, did not go all the way down, but did some version of either a bike or a hike down. I wasn't going to have that. I'm like, no. I'm convinced I would trip and fall. Like, no, was not taking chances. No. I was perfectly fine up at the top where I was. So yeah, that's kind of where I stayed. But stunning, like absolutely stunning. If you survive your honeymoon to the Grand Canyon, it's true love, Little Milky. Yeah, that is, I think, very, very spot on. Okay, Capone, I'm glad you said that, because one of my coworkers was telling me like, oh, you got to do this when you go. And I looked into it and I'm like, girl, what the hell? It's a very popular thing. People will rent them to go down into the canyon, but the donkeys and mules, they're known for walking like close to the edge. And statistically speaking, are there a lot of deaths from that? Not really, but I looked it up, and if there's at least one, that's one too many for me. So I'm like, no, not happening. And of course, me being me, distributed that information to my entire group. I'm like, hey, you know how y'all were talking about this? Yeah, I did some research, and here's some stats on people dying from doing that. Choose your own adventure. I will not be. I assure you, I actually am a lot of fun on vacation, contrary to like being so afraid of going over the canyon that I was like, I don't care if I sound like a Debbie Downer. Like, I don't want anybody I'm with to go over. Danny, my backyard is kind of a zoo. I'm the one behind the glass. Oh my gosh, yes, send me a video. Oh my God, I definitely want to see that. That's crazy. Did you find that stupid thing where you walk out on a clear bottom over the canyon? No, I would do that. No. So I wasn't even going to get close to that. Every time I've gone to the CN Tower, there's been someone in a wheelchair crying at the glass floor. Oh, yeah. If I was in the Grand Canyon with Danny, maybe I should stay clear of the edges. Would you really fear me? You should, but would you? I'm just kidding. All right. Let me pull up some pictures. And like the pictures don't do it justice. You know how like people say that and you're like, yeah. They don't. Like they just don't. So this first one is again, it's like coming off a little blurry. I was wearing the Danny After Dark shirt. There was a tower that you could go in and walk up. I think it's like 4 flights of stairs and overlook even where people who were kind of at the height at the top of the canyon were looking. That was really cool. But like you were able to, like, if you looked over, like there's no like buffer beneath you. Like you look over, it's straight down and you have a dang good view of that. So if you're scared of heights, be mindful. But that being in the Grand Canyon, going to the tower that day was the highlight for me. Besides one night going back to like one of the open spots and where you can just kind of park on the side and seeing the stars. I did that one night. That was like incredible. And depending on where some of y'all live, you might be like, oh, well, that's nothing. Which is amazing for you. Where I am, Boston area, city, you don't get that. There's just so much pollution and, buildings that you don't get that kind of lightless area. So to kind of be there and see it was just like, oh my God, like once in a lifetime type of thing, unless you go back. Yeah, like I don't know why when I save these on my computer to show you guys, it just like some of them went very tiny. So this was at that tower that I mentioned. These were stairs going up to one of the sides. So again, had my Danny After Dark shirt, threw that on, and that's like where I am right now. You can look over and straight down. You're just straight down, which was very cool. Am I going to have to blow up each picture? Probably. My apologies. This was driving, just arriving there. We arrived like right at sunset the first night going from Sedona to the Grand Canyon after the stop we did in Arizona. So it was kind of cool as we were getting to where we needed to be. It was just like, oh, this is a great view. Let's just pull over and take pictures. And then you drive like several hundred more feet and there's like another pull off and it's like a little bit of a different angle of the Grand Canyon. So, all right, how about more pictures? So yeah, that was like, I'm like fully relaxed in like my flannel, tank top, like full day of like, and honestly, I thought I would hate that picture more. That was after being sick as well. That was after being sick from going to Sedona to the Grand Canyon, going through Arizona, and then like it's like we're just like, I just want to get to where I need to be and like rest. Not bad. I felt like hell. I felt horrible, but I'm like, wow, kind of, you can't quite tell in that picture how sick I was. This was this the night of the Jeep tour? I think it was. Yeah. I'm trying to think like, oh, what outfit is that? Yep. That was the night of the Jeep tour. And the Jeep tour started like just shy of sunset. And the guide knew like all the hot spots to kind of take each party to. And the Jeep tour, how many people can the Jeep fit? You can book like a private one. The one we were in fit, I think like 9 people. 9 people. Another one, bit of a different angle. That, as you can kind of tell from the picture, there's more walkway to get to the edge. As again, I'm still in my like comfy flannel from the long drive. I say long drive, felt like forever going from Sedona to the Grand Canyon. And I still felt sick, and I was just like, I kind of seeing the Grand Canyon and realizing like just how far down it is. I was like, I'm not getting anywhere close. So that's one of the things like I noticed too when I was going through the pictures that I took like that first day. I mean, I'm still plenty of ways away from the edge there. And I'm like, that's as far as I got the first day. I'm like, you know what? I'm good here. I'm good here. Not taking chances. And then like the second day I go, a little bit and then a little bit. I never got right up. No. Nope. Wouldn't do it. This was from the bridge, not the bridge, the tower that I did. They have, it looks like I'm by the edge. They have a bit of a fence up, and then there is where I was right there. There was like a big rock underneath. That was the only reason I felt comfortable even being close to that fence. But yeah, so if you're like, wait a minute, yeah, that's the only reason you see me there. But then past that rock underneath, because it did extend out a little bit, past that, then it was the drop. So sorry I have to keep like zooming these in. I don't know why they saved like that on my laptop. Again, another view of the canyon. Okay, I'm going to kind of circle it here with my mouse. Not sure if you can see. That right there is known as a duck rock. And it's called that because depending on what angle you look at it, it looks like a duck. I never once saw the duck. Never saw the duck. Nonetheless, it was still cute and like a great pull-off spot. And you can see the rock behind me. There was a kind of like cement wall that I'm leaning against. And it was actually pretty high. So if it looks like I'm close to the edge, there's actually a giant, probably up to like my hips, of a wall that I'm leaning against that's not just behind me. Again, for those people that visit and are more than happy to like step over that and get right by the edge and get those pictures and live in those moments, more power to you. More power to you. One of the nights, it was the night of the Jeep tour. There was like this group of like 3 kids. They looked to be like 16, 17, maybe 18 years old. And they like, oh my God, I was shocked. Like anywhere there was like space for them to like jump below to another area and go out and then jump below. Like it was wild. I'm like, they weren't on the tour. They were just there themselves. But I'm like, what the heck are these kids doing? Like I was stressed watching them. But that's just, yeah. Again, this was one of the pictures when I was on the tower. So I'm going to use my mouse here. This is for people who you can, instead of like, for example, walking to the edge and looking over and seeing the drop. But again, like I know what you guys are going to say. It's so close that you're basically doing it anyway. And you're right. This is for somebody who kind of wants a little bit more of the security of not looking fully over, where they can look in here and see down. Again, it's like basically the same thing. You get the same view, but in both times, like I kind of looked over one. I'm like, all right, looked over. absolutely terrifying. And then I didn't do it again, but yeah, it was very, very cool. Like that view at that tower was, again, my favorite spot. This was like right as the sun was setting. Again, like the picture doesn't do justice of like the way the sunset was like lighting up the canyon. But that's one of the pictures that I took. Again, that I think the tour guide took that photo for me, and like cool photo, like again, doesn't do it justice like from being there. This, oh, love it, love it. So this was one of the pull-off spots, and the tour guide was saying like this tree is almost like so many people take pictures of it because it like reminds of like a throne. So of course I'm like, I need my picture taken there. So yes, just a little thing that I thought was cute and would throw in here. Yeah, this was just one of the ones of me. Yeah, it didn't really come through. Sitting there with my Danny After Dark shirt with that over, and we're back to the beginning, I think. Okay, nope, this is the last one of that one. Okay, Beckham, hello. I know I'm a little bit behind on the chat because when I have the pictures open, it's covering the chat. So let's go back to, I don't want to miss anything from you guys. Little risky there, Danny. I know, but like I played it very safe, compared to like everybody else, honestly, like, yeah. Danny looking classy in the shades. Thank you. It was very needed. I try to, like, I would prefer not to wear sunglasses if need be, because I just kind of like to see things in like the natural light as best I can. But like some of the time, the sun, the like if it was facing you, it was so bright. You just like, you didn't have a choice. So that's when I would kind of pop my shades on. What can I say, James? Arizona as the name of Jim's favorite capone. That's amazing. Let's see. Hey, Wolf. Good to see you. Danny, hurry up and get to the Valentine's Day map. Beckham, I'm getting there next. Oh, I just skipped. Auntie Mimi, greeting everybody. Don't get called out every day. Thank you. Hope to visit again soon. Where are you hoping to visit again soon? Beckham, Vegas? Oh, Mod Museum, probably. Thank you, Karen. That is so sweet. Thank you. Thank you. That's so kind. Thank you. That's so sweet. I really appreciate that. Especially because I'm giving y'all the 411. I could easily just be like, thanks. Oh my gosh, like carefree, like just popped in looking like that. And when I'm just like, you see that outfit? That's because I'm dressed casual because I was sick on the ride. Like, no, I'm just breaking it down. Like, Beckham can attest. I messaged him and Paul and I was like, ugh. Hey, Troy, good to see you. So, before I leave the Grand Canyon, there was a book. Over the Edge, Death at the Grand Canyon. Yes, this book is huge. Over 650 pages. I have not even gotten a page into it. Yeah. Very excited to read this. Very, very excited. So, yeah, like, and I'm sure anybody who's watching this, like, is just like, Danny, I am so not surprised of like every type of touristy thing you could purchase at a souvenir shop. That's what Danny gravitates to. Yep. I was going to say about six. It looks like that. It looks like that, right? I love the casual look. I thought you said the casual book, which would totally, yeah. So yeah, I will let you guys know on this. Supposedly it's a really good book. Supposedly. But I can be very critical, so we'll see. Danny is stalling because you look, I mean, Capone, you did. You absolutely did. Not even joking, hun. But no, I'm doing that at the end because that's the one where I have the most pictures. So then made way to Vegas. So I only have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Vegas pictures to show. And then the rest, and there's a ton are the Mom Museum ones. Vegas was there 2 nights. Wish I was there longer. I mean, again, I've been there several times already. While in Vegas, so stayed at the Flamingo. I'd never stayed at the Flamingo. It was all right. Honestly, I prefer New York. That's where I typically tend to stay. Y'all know. And Paul and Beckham will attest to this as my co-host over Amazing Saga. I'm a bit of a control freak. Just a bit. I like to plan. I like to be organized. And when there's a group trip and you're not the one that's in control, it can be very hard. Very, very hard. Because yeah, I'm a very creature of habit and like I know what I like. Again, great hotel. It was fine. It was big. It was much bigger. I've always stayed at New York, which is just a much smaller hotel there. I will say the view that I had from my hotel room at the Flamingo looking out, Caesar's Palace was directly across. So it was like, I will say the best view I've ever had anytime I've stayed at Vegas from my hotel room. But nonetheless, like there was nothing kind of special, I guess, about like the actual rooms or the hotel itself. Except I will say that RuPaul's Drag Race, their residency was at the Flamingo. I wish I was there another night so I could have seen the show. Like, oh, when I was like walking around and like saw that they had a residency at the Flamingo, I was like, what? I love that show. But it is what it is. What else? Yeah, for the most part, just a lot of walking around, stuff I've already done. Went to, Cirque du Soleil show, and I know I mispronounced that horribly. I saw the Michael Jackson show, and that was at Mandalay. It was good. It was entertaining. It was not up my alley because I felt the show focused so much, like a lot, on the storyline of what they were doing that there wasn't as much dancing and acrobatics as I felt there should have been for the amount of money that you're paying for your ticket. And based on the other shows I've been to, like each time I've gone to Vegas, I've gone to other shows. And it's like that almost the entire time. And if it's not like that the entire time, it's a little bit less because again, there's a story to tell, but they get that, hey, yes, there's a story to tell, but people are here to see a show. I didn't feel the Michael Jackson one did that. I felt it was very lacking in that end. I also, and I already know some of you are going to be like, Danny, really just have fun. Why are you complaining? A lot of that show focused in a positive light on Neverland Ranch. And I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, people are cheering. Does everybody forget what happened at Neverland? Like, oh my God. So like I couldn't enjoy it because of that. I'm probably alone in that because the rest of the audience seemed to have a great time it, but I'm just sitting there like, no, like why are people cheering? That what happened there is not good. What happened there is so not good. But it's Michael Jackson, so people move on. I don't. So yeah, that's that. Probably. All right, let me. People. Yeah, so I asked Danny to play a certain number for me in Vegas that would put out, and she laughed at me. I did not laugh at you, Auntie Mimi. I know better than to do that. You could still kick my butt. I played it. No, I'm going to have to get that book. Oh, I'll let you know how it is. But if you're like, you know what, that sounds great. I know I'm going to enjoy it anyway. Order it. Or if you just want to wait to hear what I have to say, I'll let you know. No, Capone is in the Mob Museum album that I made. Flamingo. I know Capone was so nice and messaged me that first night that we arrived and was like, "Hey, I know. When you go as like it's okay with group trips, it's like there's positives and negatives, right? Because it's great where you can do stuff as a group and then you can kind of break off and people can mix and match and go do whatever they want. With that being said, like some of the group stuff, like again, the Michael Jackson show, like who I was with, for the most part, everybody loved it. It was just like, again, for me, I was just like, oh, I wish there was more dancing. I wish there was more acrobatics. Why are we clapping about Neverland Ranch? But again, it was a group thing. So I'm not going to be like, peace, every single, everybody else go and I'm going to just walk on. Like, can't do that. And then again, it was, what was it, like a 4 to 5 hour drive from Grand Canyon to Vegas. So it was like the long drive. And it's like in hindsight, I'm like, I should have just been like, Capone, let's meet, let's go, let's keep it going. But like when you're like in the midst of like, oh my God, I'm exhausted. Yeah. On the way from Grand Canyon to Vegas, again, we don't have a Dutch Brothers here in New England, and that's a coffee chain that I was like, I have to try. And there was one on the way. So of course, yeah, went and waited in I think I waited like 20 minutes for a damn coffee. So good. So good. Which helped me stay awake as long as I did on that, on that first night. I did not laugh at you for the number, Mimi. The classiest I know. All right. So I think, yeah. All right. Let me pull up some Vegas pictures and then we'll get to the Mob Museum. I know that's what y'all want. That's what I'm repping tonight. And we'll get to that. But the few pictures that I have to show for Vegas. All right, I think this was at the Cosmopolitan. I was just like, we were walking through and I'm like, red stiletto, yes. And as you can see, it's kind of tiny in the picture. So let me see if I can enlarge it. I'm wearing the white version t-shirt of my Tattoos Are Trashy shirt. I own the black one. I own the white one. I own one that I wore for y'all maybe a month or so ago. It says it big on the back and then it's just a little logo. I'm obsessed. And like, it's kind of funny because at that angle, like I think I only see one. Yeah, I only see one of my tattoos. at my ankle. But I will say I have a giant black and white skull on the back of my calf. And in Arizona, I got a lot of compliments on that. Arizona, the Grand Canyon area. There was like a grocery store where it's just like, grab like snacks, packs, water bottles, just like big package of them, just so you don't have to like stop everywhere and pay like $4 or $5 for a bottle of water. And the guy that was checking us out, ringing us up, he had like a skull tattoo on his forearm, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. I was like, oh, I have my most recent one is a skull, and I showed him, and he was like, oh my god. And he's like, how long did that take? I'm like, yeah, 6.5 hours. But like, yeah, it's just so funny because I like wearing that shirt, and like in that picture, like someone would look at me and be like, do you even have any tattoos? Like, yeah, I have a lot. You just can't see them in that one. But anyway, stiletto at the Cosmopolitan. All right. Kitty glitter. Yes, kitty glitter. That is like my thing in Vegas. There's only one left. There's only one left. Every time I've been to Vegas, like the Monte Carlo's no longer there, but they used to have it. There was another hotel. I'm blanking which one that used to have it. There was a few. And I was on a mission to find kitty glitter. So one night, going to bed, I'm on my phone. I'm like going through blogs of like, where can I find kitty glitter? Because we're like, just going through hotels. I'm like, where is it? Where is it? There was only one left in Vegas from what I found on a blog, and it was at the Cosmopolitan. So I went, walked through to the entire thing. I'm like, I'm finding this machine, and found it. And I parked myself right there, and that was my afternoon. And did I make it big? No, not at all. But that's okay. I had so much fun. And if you're thinking, Danny, what the heck does a kitty glitter slot machine do? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. You can like, okay, as you can kind of see, there's 4 screens there. You can play if you want to do just one screen, 2, 3, 4. Obviously, the more screens you do, the more money you're spending, the better your odds. Again, I did not play it to try to make it big in life. It was just, that's my fun thing. But depending on like how you score and match with like what gets in a row, there's different breeds of cats that if you get them in a line, but when you do win, it's like the screen goes very glittery. And the one at Monte Carlo used to meow. Not joking. Like you would just hear all this like frenzied meowing. This one didn't. And I was so sad. But I still had a blast. Like, look at that smile on my face. Like, I was so happy. So, so happy. Yeah, kitty glitter. If you are in Vegas, the Cosmopolitan, kitty glitter. Capone, if you make it big at kitty glitter, just remember who told you where to go. Just saying. Yeah, and that I did a close-up picture of it. Anybody watching this is just like, yeah, Danny, I'm not surprised. Just walking. That is outside the Bellagio. That was right after the water fountain did its thing. Paris is right behind me. A lovely CVS. Let's see what else. Is that Aria? I think that's Aria. Yeah, I can't tell what other one that is. But either way, yeah, that's right next to the Bellagio where the water fountain is. That is the water fountain at Bellagio right behind me. That's it going off. And got a what type of drink did I get? It was like I mixed a bunch of flavors. It was like a obviously one of like, you can go anywhere and be like, put this alcohol with this and mix it with it, and they just do whatever you want. Yeah, giant slushy drinking. Yeah, you can just walk around with it in Vegas. Another one, me, kitty glitter. Flamingo. Yeah, that's just one of like the little touristy places you can like take your Yeah, so that's that for just like Vegas. And then there's Mob Museum, but let me just get caught up on the chat. Oh, gotcha. I know many that for comment of the night. Oh, there was some old lady who posed with the shoe. She had so many cats. She didn't know what to do. I'm gonna give that a star. That is so good, James. James, I've never been more proud of you. That is so cool. Nice. That's awesome. Congrats. True. How much money is in there? Oh, okay. For a second, I was like, you're asking me. I'm like, wait, what? I don't know the answer. I wonder if more bodies are buried out in Vegas than money. Well, Beckham, I don't have that answer, but let's transition to Mob Museum. So got to, again, meet up with Capone at the Mob Museum, which was awesome. Again, Capone, you're rock star. So cool to meet you in person. We went out after for a drink as well. To a really, really cool bar. Really cool bar. I have a photo of us from outside of it. Because apparently if you try to take a video in there, they'll yell at you very publicly with a, bullhorn? Speaker, whatever it was. Yeah, very interesting place, but very Vegas. So for those of you who haven't been, it is like right by, like literally right by Old Vegas, which is super cool. I've been to Old Vegas before. I think the last time I went to Vegas, but yeah, I never knew this was like right there. Like had I known when I'd been before, like I would have stopped there, but I had no idea. But that's on me for not knowing. So. How's your hearing recovered from that bar? No kidding. It was hard to talk there. It was loud. More so the waitresses, not waitresses, bartenders, loud. But it was fun. It was like very cool, fun vibes. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it actually. Okay. I know this is the only reason Beckham is here. So these aren't in any particular order. And as I'm looking at them, I'll have to piece some of them together script-wise, and I'll explain what that is. So, okay, this is just like, I took more photos than this. It's just like these were like the better ones that I figured I would show. And like you might think like, oh, I mean like, God, was there like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 pictures or so I'm going to slide by for y'all? You could, if you took pictures of everything there, thousands of photos, like thousands of photos. There's so much. And what I liked about the Mob Museum is if you're like, obviously, yes, that is the focus, but there's other things that kind of are tied in. So if you're into that too, like there was a big section on like JFK and JFK's assassination. There was one part I'd mentioned to Capone, like in regards to something reminds me of Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman. And then the next room that we walked to, it talked about, someone in regards to Roy DeMeo in that area. And just from Kuklinski interviews, I know that's controversial too. People are like, oh, is he tooting his own horn? Has he said more than like he's actually done in his like criminal career? But anyway, there was like a video playing and Richard Kuklinski was on it, the Iceman. I'm like, oh, I just mentioned him. Yeah, there's just like so many other little caveats of true crime that, yes, they tie in, but they're not, if you're not necessarily fully into this, like you could still go and have a good time. Just wanted to put that out there if anybody's like, well, kind of into it, would I enjoy going? Yes, because there's other kind of little areas. And Beckham, you have been too. as well. So please feel free to weigh in the chat if I'm missing something, or if you agree with something, or if you had a different take from going to the Mob Museum as well. I just want to make sure I'm caught up in the chat with you guys. Okay. All right. So pictures. And some of them I will read. Some of them we would be here for like another 5 hours, which work night, would I absolutely mind? Depends. All right, I'll try to blow these up as best I can. So J. Edgar Hoover. This is kind of where, oh, come on. There we go. Where things kind of started, because obviously he was, in regards to, he was a big part of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And anybody who, so there's a former FBI agent, Mary Ellen O'Toole, and she talks about kind of how she got into the FBI. I've read her book before. I've recommended it before. I did a whole review on it. Her parents were both in the FBI. Her father was an agent and her mom was a secretary under this administration. And that was kind of at a time where women couldn't be federal agents. So she kind of talks about growing up like that and then going into the FBI unit herself once she was older in her career, because then they were looking for women. So I kind of have a bit of that background knowledge in regards to becoming an FBI agent in regards to the Hoover administration. But this talks about until the 1930s, most agents in his Bureau of Investigation were lawyers and accountants who did not carry guns or make arrests. But the rise of trigger-happy bank robbers and kidnappers such as John Dillinger and George Machine Gun Kelly forced Hoover to transition his agency. After learning how to shoot, Hoover's special agents tracked down Dillinger, Kelly, and several other headline-grabbing outlaws. The B of, oh God, I can't even read that right now. I don't have my glasses on or my contacts in. The B of I, renamed the FBI, in 1935, became the nation's premier crime fighting force. Next. Okay, so I wish this didn't load. So this didn't load in order, but there'll be several screens in here and I'll get to it. So I will read it in order. So the movie Casino. This was playing actually in the gift shop, and this was really cool. So I had to stop and take like some screenshots. So in regards to the movie Casino, they were trying to do the scene, and I have screenshots from it, where there's one guy who stumbles out in this scene, and he had been shot, he's bleeding, and then somebody comes up from behind and shoots him. And the director felt that the scene, it just wasn't working right. So his technical advisor was with him, Frank Collada. So that is the guy in this photo here. And Collada responds, of course there's something wrong. Of course it's wrong. That's not the way it happened. And turns out that Frank Collada was the guy who like did the murder in real life. So what he had said to the director was, no, he cut him here. I tried to strangle him with a toaster cord, but the damn cord broke and he got up. So Marty, the director, realizes, or a person in charge of that scene, that Frank Collada had actually done the murder. He had been given immunity and was able to kind of skate by on a homicide. So Marty got rid of the actor and got Frank Collada dressed and basically said, you're hired. You do the scene in the movie. So, and again, I have the other screenshots from this as we go through. I'll show you. If you see in the movie, that scene, the man chasing him is actually him, Frank Collada. And he killed the real guy in real life, and now he does it all over again in the movie. Yeah. So I will show you guys more of that as I go through. This was a photo I took of the Nevada gas chamber. So it gives a little bit of, so it has the chair, a little bit of information on that. And then underneath, gives a bit of a history on Nevada's gas chamber. This, you can sit in here in this Capone. I know you can better describe this than I can, but this is the courtroom where, in a lot of these, like what you're looking at here was from the original, like the bench, the judge's bench, the tables. So that's why it's roped off. So like people just can't go touch that because that's the original. And this is where a lot of the hearings actually took place, was in this room, in this building, because it used to be the courthouse. I just have a very brief kind of explanation on that. Again, Capone knows way more of the history of this than I do. Please feel free to kind of, either if I got something wrong, tell me, or elaborate more if you would like. But it was very cool. The screens in there that are hanging, you could go in and sit and they would play, I think it was like a 6-minute little video of kind of the history of there and who stood, like had to meet in there, and the, what's the word I'm looking for? I have a picture of it that I'll go to. It was like a certain kind of investigation that brought a lot of these people in here. Horrible way of describing that, I know. So this is an actual, like, kind of like a, if you were to be arrested, this is what you would kind of be in. And I walked in thinking like, okay, like all you see is your reflection back. It's a full mirror. You cannot see who's on the outside. And I wasn't expecting that. So I got in there and I'm like, whoa, like, and I went up and like touched the glass and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it was trippy. It was very trippy. But of course I had to pose in the most Danny way ever, which is what you see there. But that was very cool. And that's like one of the first things too, when you get up, you start the 4th floor and work your way down. And that was like one of the first things. I'm like, yes, that's so cool. One of the things I took a picture of was the Rat Pack. And let me see if I can just zoom in and read that for you guys. Rat Pack members from left to right: Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Sammy Davis Jr., Peter Lawford, and Joey Bishop posed in front of the Sands in 1962. Yes. That's what happens when you think, I don't need my glasses or my contacts tonight. Not at all. Just another view of that courtroom from a little bit more up close. This was should have been the first slide in regards to the description of that casino movie that I told you about. And there will be some other better pictures that I have for that too. This was very cool. One of the walls there, where do old mobsters go? And then it talks about the differences. And it goes into each a little bit more. They die, they go into witness protection, to prison, into exile, they retire. And then on the other side, like as you're walking through that, then you get to a wall of like, oh my gosh, there were so many of them, like the years, like born, died, and kind of a description of like where they were from, like what area they did their crimes in and what they did. But it was very brief, but there were so many people. So many people, a lot of names where you're like, oh, okay, yep, that's a well-known one. That's a well-known one. But then there was just so many, I'm like, I haven't heard of some of these. And then like, of course, kind of looking through, seeing like which ones come from Massachusetts, and didn't even recognize those names at all. I'm like, how the heck have I lived here my whole life and don't know those names? But that was, yeah, very, very cool. So that is a picture of the real Frank Collada. That's him wearing the black. And he is in the movie Casino. About to basically reenact the crime that he committed in real life. That wall I was just telling y'all about, this is like an example of one of the plaques there. So I took this one because I wanted to take a picture for me, but also I'm like, I have to send this to Liz immediately. And then I got late and I didn't send it to her right away. But it's Whitey Bulger. So let me zoom in a bit so you guys can kind of see kind of an idea of what it is. So again, it has their name, where, where they're born, where they passed away, and then like a few bullet points of what they did. And then obviously with Whitey Bulger, as we know at the very end, beaten to death by fellow inmates in West Virginia prison. But yeah, there were so many of these, like, that you could go through and take pictures of. I want to say they were in alphabetical order, but I could be wrong. But I think they were. This is a photo. No, go back. Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan. I love how it adds "of all people." Opened last night at the Last Frontier, reported Las Vegas Sun when the future president performed in February 1954. Yeah. Las Vegas Goes Straight. This one was a bit more towards the end. I think this was on floor 2 or I think floor 2. Just kind of when a lot of the more criminal aspects going on in Vegas were kind to become a little bit of the thing in the past. And I know people can be like, no, there's still corruption in Vegas, yes, but just a little bit more. Heading in the right direction, if you will. St. Valentine's Day Massacre Wall. Okay, this was honestly my favorite thing at the Mom Museum besides the gift shop. But before I jump into that, let me just quickly catch up on the chat with y'all. Didn't some in the mob have goods on J. Edgar Hoover? I don't 100% know for sure. This is an aspect of true crime that's like very out of my research comfort zone. I'll be perfectly honest. I wish Liz was in the chat. She knows way more about this stuff. Like, this is like her little area. Nixon wanted his files once the news hit. Good question. Capone knew him as Uncle Frank. Okay, thank you, Capone. See, yes, much more eloquently worded. Very few congressional hearings have ever been done outside of DC. Thank you. Bill, hi. You're too respectful to make that kind of an entrance, Bill. Being Canadian, I could never play the fifth, one of life's greatest disappointments. That's awesome. Thanks, Zach. Well. All right. Okay. All right, caught up. So, let me go back. Yes, this was one of my favorite things to kind of learn about and to see, because there was like, in this exact spot, like, so that's the wall. That is the wall. Every maybe like 5 minutes or so, they'll show a video there and give a bit of a history, like just a few minutes, about what happened in regards to the St. Valentine's Day Massacre, who was involved, who were the victim, like, again, kind of as brief as they can. And I just found this so fascinating. Like, the spots that are lit up are where the bullets actually hit. You can't touch the wall. It is behind glass. Sad. But there's and it didn't put it in order here. When I get to it in the slideshow, I'll read it for you guys, but it gives a brief description on what the St. Valentine's Day Massacre was. I will say, I got a book. Let me minimize that. I got a book. I got that in the gift shop. I saw that and I was just like, yep, you're coming home with me. The Liz, I think, is already planning on borrowing this and my Grand Canyon book. So the St. Valentine's Day Massacre. So this book, I haven't even touched a page of it yet. The untold story of the gangland bloodbath that brought down Al I am so excited for this book. So excited to read this. And this one is only 318 pages. So not bad compared to the Deaths in the Grand Canyon one. But when don't you have a book, Danny? I know. And I brought one on the trip to read. Didn't even get a page in. Because I was like, oh, let me just load up a bunch of podcasts I'm behind in, and then I'll bring the book to read in between. Didn't even get a page into book. I didn't read for over, what was this trip? Like 8 or 9, like 8 days. I didn't read one page. That is scary. Scary, because I'm such a book nerd. And I don't know. But then again, I was living in the moment. I was on vacation. I was experiencing Sedona and the Grand Canyon. So like, but yeah, I missed not reading. Yeah, totally did. I have to roll to dinner with my mom soon. Show a picture. Okay. All right. Because Capone has to leave, I will go out of order, and I don't like going out of order. So Capone, only for you. Only for you. Where is it? Yeah, like even the way this is like looking right now, I'm like, that's not the way that it's going. Criminy. All right, Capone, where's the picture of us? Where's the picture of us? I see the video. Why is it not here? All right, I can't see the picture, but I have the video. Let me open it. Okay, so this is, let me share screen. No, that's not the one I want. Oh, I'm so not as good at this as, all right, let's try this now. Share screen. Here we go. All right. So this is Capone. There is a replica Sing Sing electric chair. And okay, so keep in mind, this was, I think, on the 4th floor. This is within minutes of meeting Capone. And yeah, he was more than happy to flip that switch on me. Thanks, friend. Thank you. So it's an 8-second video. So let me play it. Yeah, of course I had to do my little Danny smile. All right, let's play it again. I see that. Yeah, I see that smile. You're like hiding. You're like, yeah, no, this is just casual. Yeah, no, this is what like Paul and Danny would not Paul and Beckham would pay to do for dealing with me for the last 5 years. But yeah. Yeah. That was so cool. That was so cool. Okay, so let me take that one off. Did the chair vibrate? No. I think I'd smile as Danny got the electric shock. Beckham, I know. Good night, Capone. Thank you for being in the chat. And again, awesome hanging out with you in Vegas. Thank you for taking time out of your busy life and schedule to be like, hey, for me to be like, I'm in town. Are you around? Thank you. Cool hat, Capone. Yes. Let's see. Sedona's cool. Flagstaff. Yeah, stop by Flagstaff. Yep. Yeah. I was like, yeah. Paul and Beckham would be so jealous. Like, why did Capone get to flip the switch on Danny? Damn it. Okay. Where was I in this? Okay. Yeah, I'm just, before I get back to that, I know I downloaded picture. I don't know why I don't see it in here. I'll have to, you know what I'll have to do? I'll have to do like a separate post, like a community post, and shout out to Capone for the pictures, because I don't see them in here. And I went through this last night. Ugh, technology, man. I'm glad I did the video though. All right. Back to it. So the St. Valentine's Day massacre wall. Yeah, that was absolutely my favorite part of the Mob Museum. It was so cool. I did not know a lot about it. So it was really cool to kind of, again, and that's the actual wall. That's the actual wall. Again, this is not in order, but a screenshot of when the director realizes that the the person that's hired to kind of give input on what's going on was actually the guy who committed the murder in real life, and had been given immunity. Al Capone. So big part of the Mob Museum, obviously. So this particular thing that I wanted to take a photo of. Let me zoom in a little so I can read that for you. So at the height of his tenure as Chicago's crime boss, Al Capone was the Windy City's biggest celebrity. In addition to providing illicit booze to 30 customers, thirsty. I should have put contacts in. To thirsty customers during Prohibition, he padded the wallets of thousands of civil servants to keep them out of his business. Capone's popularity alarmed a group of wealthy business leaders who banded together in 1930 to take him down. In one of their first acts, they partnered with the Chicago Crime Commission to issue a list of 28 public enemies, and that's in quotations, with Capone at the top. The list's purpose was to drive the hoodlums out of Chicago one way or another. And I mentioned that wall earlier about the section of like, where do older mob leaders go? Do they retire? Do they like, or whatnot? I showed you one earlier of Whitey Bulger. This was the one I took of Al Capone, and I will just zoom in a little bit so you can see it more. And that's the kind of description about him. John Dillinger. This was in a different part. So if you're wondering, wait a minute, why is his bio not as full? This was in a different section of the museum. This was a little bit earlier in on the tour. This was actually close to the end of it. And I thought that was really cool about different, and these are the actual magazines from Time kind of throughout the years. So for example, this first one was in 1930. The second one was from 1949. The third one was 1977, and then 1986. And again, behind glass, so you cannot touch them. This is some prison-made weapons. So guards confiscated these makeshift weapons from inmates in Los Angeles area jails and prisons. Inmates create lethal weapons using materials found in the facilities, including metal bed frame parts, mop handles, wire, plastic spoons, and toothbrushes. Okay, so I mentioned earlier the Kennedys. So there is a lot about the Kennedys in this museum, as you can kind of imagine. So the way this wall was, it was so hard to take a picture. Like it just was like a weird setup. So this was honestly like the best angle I could get. And I will say, okay, with a lot of these photos, it's behind glass. So if you're standing there, like taking a picture, like if you capture it the right way, like your reflection is in it, which you might thinking, well, that's not a big deal. But when there's something like writing that you're trying to read, it like can make it a little difficult. So Capone can attest, like some of the angles that I'd be like, all right, I want to picture this. I couldn't just walk by and go, okay, head on, snap. I'd have to kind of turn at an angle. And also the way the lighting was up, like it was hard to get some of the right angles so that there wasn't a glare, so that you as a person were in your own photo taking it, because it would again sometimes block some of the words of what was on there. It was kind of weird like that. And I'm like, what an interesting setup. Again, most museums you kind of go to and you just kind of walk through and you stop and you move on. But again, because everything is mostly behind glass, it adds that little bit of a challenge. So I tried my best with getting a lot of these photos, but yeah, that made it a little harder. So in this photo right, there was, let me just see above right. So yes, Senator Kennedy. So, and then above left, so that I don't have in the picture. Yeah, there was like 3 things happening in this one. But again, Kennedy family. That was part of that scene from Casino. Okay, this was part of that St. Valentine's Day Massacre wall, which again, I did not know much about, but very, very cool. So again, this is behind glass. So these are the victims that were in that massacre. This is actual coroner examination autopsy reports. Below, let me just scroll down. These are actual bullets from the massacre. Bullet shells. I did get a photo. If you can see a little bit on the right here, there was bullets from each victim, and I took a photo of just that. So we'll get to that in a little bit. But yeah, again, the original autopsy, coroner's report, the actual bullets. It was very, very interesting, like very fascinating. This was another one of those placards that had the different mobsters on there. This one in particular was Benjamin Siegel, also known more commonly as, oh my, I'm like horrible with this tonight, with the name Bugsy Siegel. And this was a little bit of the description that he had. Yeah, I kind of want to just zoom in for this for you guys. So if this was something that you did want to be like, wait, what does it say? I want to kind of zoom in to give you guys that opportunity to read that. Again, another one of the casino scenes. This was in the gift shop. And this is from Goodfellas. And they had different TV shows, different things from different TV shows. I never was into The Sopranos, but one of the things that's behind glass is a shirt that Tony Soprano wore in one of the episodes. And it has like a whole description of that. And there's things like that throughout the gift shop of different movies, kind of, again, more pop culture movies where there's all these references to things and like, hey, here's this was from the actual set, so on and so forth. This particular one, Goodfellas, which Leota. Mm-hmm. Not bad in his day, I will say. So to zoom in on what is besides the pictures, like what's actually being shown here, is Henry Hill's Zippo lighter. So this was the actual lighter that was from this scene. So that's kind of cool. Again, Ben Bugsy Siegel. This was at the beginning of the museum. Remember I showed you guys one of John Dillinger where it just kind of had that brief thing. This was with that. So I took a picture of that. This is, okay, Roy DeMeo. So this was what I saw at first, and I was like, oh, Roy DeMeo. Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman, had always been tied to Roy DeMeo. That's what made me think of that. And then the next room we went in, there was Richard Kuklinski up on the screen. But you can kind of see, like, here where I'm talking about, like, a bit of a glare, which, like, in this picture, you know, not terrible because I got a good picture, but, like, you had to, like, strategically angle how you were because the light would be hitting, and like at certain points, like you wouldn't be able to read any of that the way the pictures were taken. Just a side note. So yeah, Capone can attest, like we'd kind of walk through stuff and I would see something that I wanted to take a picture of. So I'd be like, all right, let me take it from this angle, snap, 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 turn it this way. So I'd have like 7 or 8 photos of like each thing because I wanted to get the right angle. Then we move on to the next. So I had a lot of photos to go through just to like get the one like this where it's like, okay, it's legible. You can read it. Minimal glare as possible type of thing. Which if you plan to go and you don't plan to take a lot of pictures, then like this wouldn't make a difference to you. But I'm not from the Vegas area, so you know, I don't have the luxury of like kind of like visiting whenever I want and popping over. So like I wanted to take as many pictures as I could of stuff that was like of interest to me. This gave a little bit more, again, information on J. Edgar Hoover. I know we talked about him a bit at the beginning. Yeah, that was that scene in the movie Casino. So there were, of course, some ties to me and Capone would be going through the museum, and there'd be you know, some like, oh, Frankie Carbo, and another reference as well that we will get to soon. But while we have Frankie Carbo up, let me just zoom in. So again, this was kind of that placard where I talked to you guys. So for those who don't know what Frankie Carbo looks like, this is him. And I'll go ahead and read this since, again, I know a lot of you guys who are in the chat and follow this, follow Manson Saga as well. So Paul John Carbo, Frankie Carbo, born New York, New York, 8/10/04, died Miami, Florida, 11/9/76. Arrested for several murders, including for Murder Inc., convicted of 1, turned to boxing, managing fighters and becoming undisputed underworld czar of boxing. Ordered Jake LaMotta to take a dive, had control of Sonny Liston, convicted of extorting welterweight champ Don Jordan, sentenced to 25 years in prison, released early to bad health, died at 73. But yeah, if you read the Manson case, you know the name Frankie Carbo comes up. There you go. There was a section where you could kind of, this is a bit more interactive. You could hit like the button on there and learn about kind of the mob connections in different places in the US. So when I saw the Boston one, I was like, oh, yes, please. Let me get more information on that. So I took a photo on that. Frankie Carbo. So this was a room at the museum that was art. So this, and it was a very small room that was just strictly different artists doing different mobsters. So this one in particular, again, just because of the Manson tie, was Frankie Carbo. And a lot of the drawings were very, very, very talented. Some of them were a little bit more on the simpler side, but again, it wasn't like, you're not going to an art museum. This was just like part of it. And so it was very cool to kind of take a pause from like all of the learning that you were doing as you were going through, because you were being hit with a lot of information, like a lot of really cool information, but nonetheless, it's a lot. So like, again, for someone like me, where like the mob and like that isn't necessarily my go-to genre of true crime, there was a lot that I did not know. Or it's like I knew the one or two sentence basic about something, but like this went way more in detail. I'm like, oh, okay, I didn't know this, I didn't know this, I didn't know this. So again, the little art room was just nice, a nice kind of pause point to kind of stop, take a breath, learn, like you've learned a lot. Okay, let's see this. Okay, now back to it type of thing. At least I found that helpful. Frank Sinatra testifying. Quick pause. Sorry about that. Kicked myself out. Let me share that screen back up. Sorry about that. All right. I just want to double check the chat. Russell, I see you coming in. Yeah, I just want to make sure I don't miss any of you guys' questions or comments. I remember the Gotti one. Okay. Goodfellas, the second greatest movie ever made. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Good. Like everybody knows Goodfellas. But yeah. Yep, very good. But yeah, the casino clip that I was showing with you guys with where they fired the one actor, then got Collada to do the role that they were portraying of him. I didn't know that fact. I thought that was super, super cool. Tony, yes. And I know it's up for debate if Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman, was like in that scene. But yeah. Just making sure somebody needed to kick you out. We'll always have boss. Oh my God, of all the true crime podcasts in the world I had to walk into. You are too much, James Watson. You are too much. All right. Oh my gosh, we're going on almost 2 hours here. Okay. Frank Sinatra. So this was, okay, so this building is, yeah, this is where the Mob Museum is, which is like really, really cool. Like to kind of see how it was back then. And I'm like, oh my God, he's walking in the same way I did. Like, it was weird. It was weird. So this is just Frank Sinatra testifying, 1967. He was testified before a grand jury investigating allegations of embezzlement at casino. So that's a picture of him walking up the steps. So Bugsy's sunglasses. This was such a hard picture to get because, again, it's behind the glass and then it has the reflection of the sunglasses. This is the best angle I could, and you can still see like the lines of like the lights overhead and like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so these sunglasses owned by Bugsy Siegel were among a number of items left at actor George Raff's house when Siegel was gunned down on June 20th, 1947. Yeah, it's like little things like that where you're like, wow, like these little pieces of history are just wild. So Charlie Barron, another name common with the Manson case. So there should be 2 slides here, but for some reason they are not in order. So this was one of them. Me and Capone were walking by and I walked right by it. And then Capone like caught a glimpse of like, wait, Charlie Barron's on this. So this is a picture of Charlie Barron. In regard to Barron probably continues his military association for the rest of his life. There was another slide that I'll show as well. So the Rackets Committee, this was also one of the things that I really liked to learn about while I was there because I didn't know a lot about it. And if you're saying, I'll zoom in a little bit for you. Who is that Kennedy on the left? I'm trying to get a good angle here. Robert Kennedy. So he was a big part of the Rackets Committee. So this, again, it had like almost like a 3-minute movie little video that the museum played. And then it went a bit into a quote from Robert Kennedy, and then along the way of kind of who the Rackets Committee was targeting. But I really liked this. There was a room for this, and I really liked learning about that because I didn't know a ton. All right, Jane Mansfield. I love Jane Mansfield. Like she is just stunning and just gone way too soon for her time. And when I saw this here, I was just like, yeah, with Mickey Hargitay. I had to, take a picture, and that was at the Sands pool in 1956. Most people know of her their daughter, Marissa Hargitay. So this, and we're getting there, folks. I know I'm throwing a lot at you guys. So Mickey Cohen. So this was a really cool image. So this was about an attempted murder of him in 1950. So what it says is members of the Dragna family planted a bomb beneath Cohen's bedrooms. Cohen survived this attack and many others during the 40s and 50s while fighting for control of the LA mob. And it has a little, again, pointing to. That was part of that casino clip. All right, this was another Manson tie. So Alvin Creepy Karpis. This talked about Hoover's federal agents. Again, kind of all that they did under the FBI. But in this kind of area here, talked about how it captured George Meshekin Kelly in 1934 and Karpis in 1936. They are both convicted and sent to Alcatraz prison. So for anybody who, again, studies the Manson case, and you know that Creepy Karpis is mentioned on several occasions, yeah, and you don't know what he looks like, that's him. JFK. So as you can imagine, a bunch of JFK stuff there. So this infamous picture, Lee Harvey Oswald, we all know the picture. It was part of like a bigger display that actually took up an entire wall there. So I kind of had to go up and take individual pictures of certain parts because I just wasn't able to capture like the full wall. But this is kind of the latter of obviously the JFK assassination. Ma and Fred Barker. So this was another one of the people there that was featured at the Ma Museum. And yeah, I had to take a picture of Ma Barker. So JFK. So this photo was when he was still a candidate for president. So this is going back. So 1960. So candidate John F. Kennedy visits Las Vegas with brother-in-law actor Peter Lawford during the filming of Ocean's 11 in 1960. Very cool. Very, very cool. Jimmy Hoffa. So I know we could do like an hour talk on Jimmy Hoffa, but we certainly will not in the interest of time. But this kind of gave some information about Jimmy Hoffa in regards to when he went missing, when he was declared legally dead, and like a little bit of a description about that for anybody who maybe has never heard of who Jimmy Hoffa was. But of course, this is one of those things where you could go down a rabbit hole times 1,000 in regards to where is Jimmy Hoffa. This was that first slide in the Charlie Barron video that was on the screen while we were walking by one of the hallways. So this is a description of that earlier St. Valentine's Day Massacre wall, and also the topic of that, what I bought a book about. So just very quickly, because I found it like the most fascinating thing. The St. Valentine's Day Massacre wall, this is the wall against which Bugs Moran's men were shot on February 14, 1929. The infamous wall is from SMC Carthage, a facility, and I know I butchered that, a facility used by Bugs Moran's gang in 1929. In 1967, the building was torn down and the bricks were removed and numbered, purchased by George Patey and moved to his nightclub in Vancouver, BC. The Ma Museum acquired the bricks from his family. The buildings adjacent to and across the street from the original building, where lookouts were stationed, remain as they were in 1929. So fascinating, like so fascinating. So in regards to JFK, I mentioned that there was something kind of covering the wall, and I tried to take as many individual pictures as I could. So there was much, much more to this, but this was kind of an overall shot of the best I could do. But again, there was more. I mentioned like the little picture I got down there, but this kind of goes. And then there's some detailed information, as you can see in each picture, about the assassination, like in the whole conspiracy around it. This was when it talked about Roy DeMeo, and I was like, oh, Richard Kuklinski. Go into another room. There's a video playing. Look who's right there. Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman. So I was like, I have to get a picture of that. And I can't pronounce it, even though I sat through a video about this there. The Kefauver. Oh my gosh. Where's Capone when I need him to break down the pronunciation? But this is the hearings that were, let me go back 1 second. That was where a lot of the courtroom trials that were held in that courtroom that I showed you guys, that was, empty, where they just showed the videos, but a lot of the things were original, intact, like the judges' benches, the tables. That's what was happening here. So what was happening from these hearings were mostly in this courtroom in Vegas. Again, not all of them were, but a good amount were. And this map kind of goes into where a lot of these things occurred. Again, it's like, there's so much, like just on this one picture, there's so much information. But for anybody who's unfamiliar with this, definitely it's worth a little research. I found this very, very interesting while I was there. It was a lot to kind of take in because I didn't know much about it, but very, very interesting. These are the bullets from the St. Valentine's Day massacre, like the actual bullets. And again, there is some of the coroner's reports, but yeah, so like if you wanted to, for example, zoom in on each of these, like, yeah, these were the actual bullets that were recovered from that St. Valentine's Day massacre. Another anything JFK. I was like, yeah, I'll get a photo. Another thing as well. G-Man. So I knew about this just because of reading like some of the FBI kind of biographies or books that former agents have put out that I have purchased and read, a lot of them from CrimeCon. But so I already was familiar with that nickname G-Men and what that was, how that term came about and what it was for. But when I saw it here, nonetheless, I was like, okay, I kind of want to get a snapshot of it in regards to the kind of mob perspective of how the G-Man was tied into that. And yeah, as I mentioned earlier, women at the time were, not very much in the FBI. A lot of them, if they were there, were like secretaries, but obviously times have changed. But yeah, this was still a very kind of cool thing to read. Again, going back to like the 30s of what it was like back then. So I wanted to snap a photo of that. Marilyn Monroe in the 1950s, Sands Entertainment director Jack Entrader. Another picture from Casino. Whitey Bulger. So this again, sorry, I got a photo of, and I'm like, okay, Liz. Whitey Bulger. So FBI 10 most wanted. So his most wanted profile. This gives a bit of a description of Whitey Bulger, kind of how he became who he was, and then kind of what led to his demise, if you will. And when he was caught, there were his sunglasses and his lock picking tool, and they have that there in the museum. So yeah, super, super cool to kind of see that stuff there because yeah, he has that Massachusetts tie, that New England tie. So like it was very like, oh my gosh, like very close to home type of thing when it comes to him. The T-Men case files. So this talks a bit about Al Capone. I won't read through it, but let me just zoom in a little bit for you guys. So if anybody's watching this and you're like, wait, what is that? And you kind of want to pause the screen and take a read, then you can feel free to do so. So that's that. Kennedy. So this was a really cool collection of different items from the Kennedy assassination. These newspapers, you know, again, this is all behind a glass case. Like a lot of these are originals, like originals. These go back. Like what a part of history. Like all of this stuff is. Like absolutely incredible. Like again, there's just so much history here, even in this one display. So I'll zoom back out for you. Al Capone's sweetheart. I forget who I was talking to the other day at work, and I mentioned that I went here on vacation, and they were like, isn't Al Capone, like Al Capone had like a gun that's there, right? I'm like, yep, sweetheart. So this is the actual weapon of Al Capone. So I won't read it. I know we're just past the 2-hour mark, but I'll just zoom in for you guys so you can, if that's something you did want to pause and read, you can feel free to do so. Like it's just, you hear, like, this is one of these figures in history, Al Capone, that like everybody's heard of, everybody knows. So like how the Mob Museum is able to get is like these, I don't know if the word is relics, but these pieces of history. I don't want to say whether good or bad. You know, obviously, like some of the things, there are some things in this museum where, like, there was a whole display about where it talks about like the innocent lives that were lost in different, you know, kind of mob wars or, you know, shootings where it was meant to, hits that were supposed to take out one person but accidentally took out the wrong person. And then there's like these like beautiful tributes to those people. So there's more like, you know, positive things about, if, you know, not that, I mean, any of that is still horrific, but like there are those beautiful moments of like, you know what, bad shit happened and there are innocent people who lost their lives that really need to be recognized. And the Mob Museum does a great job with that. There are those beautiful moments. And then on the flip side, there's like this. It's just very, very, very interesting. Yeah, and that was Capone flipping the switch on me. Yeah, and that was the last one in there. I swear I uploaded the photos of bummer. I will have to, I know I posted them on my Instagram. I'll have to post it on a community post. My apologies, Capone. I did this, like, I spent hours last night, like doing all this junk on my laptop and like, sorry about that. I will get that up there because yeah, hanging out with Capone was like super, super cool. So, all right, let me just catch up in the chat with you guys and then we'll kind of, yeah, we'll call it a night. Okay. Danny, 1:45 minute into show and no restroom break. That I didn't take a restroom break or you didn't take a restroom break? I don't know which photo you're referring to, Zach, but thank you. Yeah, you got a lot of this is just conversations amongst y'all. Neighborhoods were safer when the mob was in control. I'm sure there are many that would disagree with that. Ma Barker. Manson was captured at her ranch. Nice tie there, Watson. Nice, nice. I think so too, James. That's my thought. That's my thought. Giuliani helped prosecute the mob. Russian mafia took over. Giuliani has a lot of Russian business connections. Coincidence? Good point. Gotcha. For another JFK rabbit hole, look up the name Carrie Thornley II Oswald. Yeah, you guys are just like, I know I'm a bit behind in the chat because I was showing pictures, but yeah, you guys are found a Discord. Yeah, the JFK thing, man. I read why he turned over mob operations in Boston to Danny After Dark. I cannot confirm or deny. Karen Diamond is Danny. As an Australian, your photos of the mobbies were very interesting. Thank you. Yeah, I'd never been before. So it was, and again, like, I feel like I just showed you guys so many pictures. Like, again, if you just, like, anybody was like, oh, let me go visit the mobbies, you could take thousands of photos. There's so much. Like, so much. Danny took out Whitey because he snitched. I swear I read that too about Danny. I mean, I love how you guys make me so much more badass than I am. I mean, I'm from Boston, so like you have to be tough and a bit of a badass, but like I'm a book nerd, cat loving YouTuber. Or like what, whatever. And even just saying that right now, YouTuber, I'm like, that was lame. But yeah, book nerd that likes to just read with like 1, 2, 3, or 4, or all 6 cats on my lap. Like, that's a fun time. But let's see if I see Danny walking with something and it's not gonna go the other way. You guys are so funny. Danny does need to take a bathroom break. The cat's litter box is right by her. One of them is, when you got 6 cats, you gotta give a lot of options. So yeah, one of them is in here because, as you know, tower there. You guys can't see it on camera. Tower there. Big cat bed down there. Yeah, they got it made. They got it made. And there was one shop I went to back in it was in Sedona. It was like this like cute little store with like just like quirky, cool stuff. Like I like little unique stores like that. And they had, you know what? If Liz hears this, that's fine. They had like catnip. They had like a section, a big section for dog toys, and like a little section for cat stuff. Of course, I see that. I'm like, oh my God, I have to get stuff for my babies. And they had like fake pattern, like Louis Vuitton, like Coach, like patterned catnip balls. And I was like, that is so cute. That is so cute. So I got a couple for mine, and then I got one for Liz. Because she took care of my babies while I was away. So I got her a few things while I was out there. And I got her one of those for her cat, Betsy, which y'all have seen Betsy. She has made an appearance when Liz is able to come on camera. Usually Betsy has to be on screen. So yeah, I got her one of those, but I haven't seen her yet to give her the stuff I got her. So if she's listening to this, then she knows what one of the little gifts are. YouTubist. Did I say that, or did I say YouTuber? Either way, I'm a nerd for saying that. But I hope I didn't say YouTubist. I'm not trying to suck up, but your mob show was really good. Thank you, Tony. I do appreciate that. I am so sorry, y'all, that in the folder I have it pulled up on, the pictures are in order of how I wanted to show them. But then when I actually opened the thing and like started hitting the arrow through, they weren't going in order, and I don't know why. Danny could never climb into one of those. Okay. Dome cat. I thought you said damn cat boxes. Don't see. I was like, I don't need my glasses tonight. I don't need my contacts. No, I'm good. Totally not. Totally not. All right, everybody, I'm going to wind this one down. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Danny After Dark and for hearing about my last vacation. And it's good to be back. It was fun when I was there doing all of these different places and different things, but it's good to be back because I miss my cats. I miss my cats. And True Crime and Chill this week on Friday night from a top secret, very cool location. So tune in. You'll find out where when I go live, or maybe a little bit before. We'll see. We'll see if I want to give a hint, but stay tuned. All right, everybody, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a fantastic rest of your week. I will see you at the end of the work week for True Crime and Chill. So remember, everybody, until next time, we don't live in darkness. Darkness lives in us. Bye, everyone.